What did you go to school for?
I was a Africana Studies major, and I almost got my communications minor, but yeah, I think when it came down to college and finishing up, like my heart wasn't fully in that either anymore. I ain't gonna lie, but I think the one thing that I did gain from college was like a wide understanding of everybody goes through shit. Like all races go through shit, but also how I can communicate with everybody and being able to code switch, being able to walk in different rooms and still communicate with people, and even know that sometimes you step in different rooms, people might judge you for certain things. It's how to carry yourself in general. Like I think that was the biggest thing I got from college. Like it wasn't the essays, the papers. Like to me, that shit kind of be overrated sometimes. Like I think the experience and like what you gain and how you apply what you learn and what you do in college to the real world, because sometimes the shit you study doesn't really apply to what you're about to do when you get out, you know? Unless you're a doctor or a nurse or like certain professions. Like, you know, I wasn't the best at calculus, but at the end of the day, it was hard for me to apply myself always in calculus because I knew when I got done with college,
you weren't using calculus.
That's what's interesting and what's funny about like nowadays. That's like that kind of like the argument that people are doing now. It's like whether it's worth it to go to college or not. You know what I'm saying? Like some people are right now are saying like, hey, you know what? Like maybe you can go a different route than going to college and then getting yourself in that crazy ass debt. And then some people are being like, no, like they're still in that traditional way of pushing that college education because they feel like that's their gratification or that they feel like that's what they need to do when they exit out of this point. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's been happening a lot lately, that having that thing about whether it's to go to or not.
That's the interesting thing about college though, is like I've always believed, like I still to now, like what we're getting into at Blow and Smoke podcast, you know what I'm saying? Like in the business aspect now and seeing it, it's like there's shit I don't know and I can learn it and experience, right? Or I can take the experience route as well, but also learn the educational as well. We could be 40 and going back and learning and getting our AA, you know what I'm saying? Sure. Yeah. And so that's how I kind of see it. Is like school's interesting, but then it's like, what are you going to school for? And then what are you getting out of it at that point too as well, you know?
For sure.
Facts, bro. And I think it's just like anything else. It's just like a tool, you know? So it's like, if that's what's going to help you get to that end goal, then that's just what it is, you know? You can't hate on that. Yeah. But I think
I said, but I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you know, experience is the best teacher ever. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, no so question. That's what I've learned in life. Is like, man, education's cool and all, but if you in the field, you grinding, you're gonna get them bumps in the road, bro. Exactly. You're gonna feel them to learn and go forward. You know what I mean?
No, that's facts. I think it's just it's kind of like that saying, you know, they say knowledge is power, but it's really applied knowledge is power. Yeah, you can know everything you in the world, but if you don't use it, what's
exactly use? Not for sure.
But so what got you into the Innovator? Because first of all, you know, we were talking about it a little bit, but I really like the name, bro. Innovator. It's just really creative, and it just talks about like what this podcast is about. Is just getting to the next level. Yeah. So what made you come up with like, man, I'm gonna brand myself as an innovator?
It was honestly the coming up with the branding was like the hardest part. So basically the base idea of like the logo and all that stuff became about because my big cousin passed away. He like was running on the beach and he just kind of collapsed. And so at his funeral, his dad said something that always stuck with me still to this day. He said to use this tragic moment as like a boost, and he described how like when a rocket ship goes into the sky, it lets a piece of it has to fall off for it to get through like the Earth's atmosphere and shit. And I was like, damn. I was like, I like the rocket idea that he said, because that's kind of innovators, rocket ship, like they kind of go together. Like we're doing things out of the ordinary. So boom. So I knew I wanted my logo to be a rocket ship. Then I also thought of the brand because it was like, what powers what powers anything more than the mind?
Thanks. Yeah.
And so that's how you saw by my logo. You see the rocket ship with the brain is like the engine that powers it, because the way I feel like I will get to the next level and people will get to the next level is expanding our mind, talking about certain situations and opening our minds to new things and new adventures and different perspectives, you know? And I think that's how the logo came about. The logo took me almost, I'm gonna be real, it took me about 2 years to come up with it.
Oh, damn, to like craft it and get it to like detail and
It
everything.
was like, I didn't know what I wanted it to be for real. And I was just like, I know I want a rocket ship. I kind of want the brain, but what really happened was I was sitting I was working at radio at the time. I was sitting at my desk and it just clicked in my mind. Like, it's kind of crazy. It clicked in my mind like, damn, I could get the rocket ship and I could kind of draw the brain on there. So like the original logo, I actually hand drew out. And my homie made it digital. And that's kind of how like things started to take off. Because I knew I wanted to get into interviews because I was working in radio. So that was like what made it kind of easy to get in at the jump. I was working in radio. So it was a place and a space to do it, you know?
Facts. And that's what I was going to ask you. Like, you know, we're talking about the name, we're talking about the logo. Like, so what is the purpose? Like, is there anything that has came up from you sitting with all these artists? Like,
as far as like came up like drama?
Not necessarily drama. We're going to get into that. Don't worry about it. But as far as like, man, like, because you just said it's all about seeing shit in a different perspective, in a different lens. Like, sitting down with all these artists, you know, they're not in LA, in Hollywood, you know, in like a nice ass house all the time. Yeah. So like, have you gained anything from sitting down with them?
Nah, yeah, for sure. I think I'm not gonna lie though. I like the interviewing. I've interviewed so many different people, so many different backgrounds, so many different experiences. I think overall, it definitely has changed my whole perspective. Like, I think like if anybody watches my interviews, they know I always started out with asking people like, how did you grow up? Like, were your parents around? Like, what was that? So that's the basis of what I start every conversation with. And it's not that, like, it's really just to see, like, and to show the audience that clearly this is somebody here that's in the chair with this interview, you know? Like, this is somebody that people knows. But at the end of the day, the way people grow up and the way they come around is all different. Like, everybody has a different upbringing. Everybody has different, like, but they all have a common thing of trying to be great and trying to make something happen in their life, you know, like.
And shouts out to you in being a good like interviewer, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I appreciate that.
Out, and it's you know, it's not an easy. It's, you know, it's a daunting task sometimes. You know, it's not as easy as someone to just hop on something like that and get to talking or be able to have it. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to get the most out of a person. You know what I'm saying? So shouts out to you for that. And like I said, being a podcast host myself, I know like what it goes into and everything, and how easy it can be to just, you know, ramble on and just keep going and flowing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to know when to take the exhales and pauses and stuff like that. So shouts out to you with that too.
Nah, it's honestly, you know, like it's not easy all the time. I appreciate you for saying that though, because sometimes the fans in the comments on my YouTube don't be as nice, man. Sometimes people, but with anything, people be like, you suck. I'll be like, damn, do I suck? No.
But you gonna get that. You gonna get that no matter what, bro. It could be YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter.
The TikTok,
it's gonna be with it.
TikTok, you know like the people on TikTok are the worst, like on any social media platform to me. Oh yeah, they talk bad on TikTok. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Like, it's very rare that it's something nice in the TikTok comment.
How do you take that?
To me, like, usually on TikTok, it's not like bad. It's not really coming at me. It's more about talking about the person. But to me, it doesn't matter. Like, I didn't. Well, of course, when I first started doing interviews, I wasn't that good. I always tell people the first time I interviewed T Grizzly, that was like the first big person I interviewed that wasn't from the Bay. Like,
shouts out T Grizzly.
Shout out to Grizzly. I knew that was a big moment for me, but I was nervous as shit. The interview was only 11 minutes. Like, literally, like, I'm not gonna say I froze, but like I just wasn't.
And this is when he was like at the height.
Come on, he was huge. I think, and the thing about it
first
was,
day out type shit. Like,
it was after that. It was like after that. It was like, you know, because T Grizzly, his I think it was aunt, she passed away. Yeah, it was like right before, like a couple of months before that. Like, I met her and everything. It was just tough. Like, I think when it comes to being a good interviewer, you have to be prepared.
Yeah,
and I think
that's something you're very good at, bro.
At that time, I just wasn't prepared enough. Like, the opportunity was there. I wasn't gonna turn it down, but like, I still was learning, and like, I think that's the way I got better was watching myself. So like moments like that, I was like, oh shit, like I am fucking up on
It's
that
tough
part.
to do.
I
Too.
was gonna say we're all podcasters here, so like,
It's hard to watch yourself.
do you watch yourself?
I got to, because I do all the editing.
See,
So like
that's-
I got to do all the little. I know I get the cuts, the noise, the catching myself, the dialogue, the way I speak, cutting people out. Like it's tough because you got to do that. You know what I'm saying, during the editing. So it's a skill, man. Like really, you know what I mean. I don't mean to like make it seem like we tune on our own horns being a podcast host, but it's like it's a skill, man, for real. Yeah.
Nah, for sure.
But you listen to yourself?
I do. I
Yeah.
do. And that's the thing, like the way I look at it is like, man, football players watch their film, basketball players watch their film. And that's the thing, like you gotta be professional about your shit if you really, serious about it. Cause I used to not, like I used to be terrified of my shit. I used to be like, whatever, just post it, whatever, especially cause I had someone helping me out with the editing. But now it's like, nah, bro, like, are you serious or you not? Like, cause if you're not watching yourself and you're not loving what you do, how is someone else gonna love it?
Yeah, for sure.
With me at first, I didn't watch anything. I watched like because I had a cameraman, and so my cameraman would edit everything. So I really didn't see a lot of the stuff until it was like uploaded in our Dropbox, and I'll rewatch it. I would see it then. I'd be like, damn, it's kind of too late to tell them to go fix that and go do that. Like
That's the importance of being hands on too, or having someone
Yeah.
that sees your vision as well, because like that could change the whole dynamic of what the podcast looks like too.
for sure. And I think that's when the pandemic happened. I ended up starting editing for myself, and I think
It's a beast, ain't it?
when I started doing that, like it allowed everything to go to the next level because I think what I hated waiting on was people's like not being as fast as I wanted it out. Like sometimes it's like with interviewing, y'all know, like sometimes you might need to drop an interview the next day,
Yeah,
and to do that, it's gonna have to be some work put in. And
for sure.
your partner or whoever you're working with, they might just be doing it like they might not have the same drive or same like mindset on it as you. So when you want it out tomorrow, they be like, I'm not tripping. Like, you can drop it next week. Like, I'm like, no, we need to get this done tomorrow. When you editing yourself, it's like, okay, I know if I want to drop a video, I can just go lock in my room and have it out and
That's
do
the
it.
innovator right there.
You feel me? Like,
That's innovator. Right there.
But I think that's the importance of building a team, though, because I feel like both you guys, I mean, him and I, we both have a team in a way, right? Where you guys both solely individuals,
Yeah.
which is, I feel like, it's a pro and cons at the same time on both sides. You know what I mean?
it's
It's
a
just,
balance,
sure.
and I think that like going forward, like building that team is important just because, and I think we've all seen it firsthand this year, and like we got to highlight LaRussell and seeing how he's built his team to work around him and push what we see as that brand. You know what I mean? And like going forward, it's like if you want it to work, the team is what you have to do. You know what I mean? You got to be able to delegate time here because if you could put two of you in one place, you would do it. But we need to delegate the time to somebody else and see that to be able to put them in position to make sure that all this shit works as it needs to.
nah, that's actually a great example. And I ain't gonna lie, like to me, when I look at his team and I look at everything he's done, I be like,
Bro, he posts 8 times a day.
and it's all like planned
8
out.
times a fucking day.
It's all planned out, scheduled.
What, bro?
I'm not gonna lie. It's when it comes to like being an interviewer, like that's probably one of my. There's a couple people that like I slept. I'm not gonna say I slept on with Russell, but like at the time I didn't fully like. Basically, before Russell like blew up and shit, he had asked me like he wanted to drop his freestyles on my channel, and
No way.
I swear to God.
No way. That's an exclusive right here.
He'll tell you this. This is a fact.
Right.
He wanted to drop all his freestyles on my channel, and it wasn't that I didn't want him to. It just was like, I was just like, what the fuck? I didn't really look into it like I should have for real. But I did tell him. I seen him start going up after, and I was like, he didn't need me to drop on my channel. Like, what the fuck?
True.
But I told him that later. I was like, yo, I'm glad that like we didn't do that. Like, because it like you was able to do your own thing. You built your own brand. You did your own thing. Like, but he'll definitely tell you he wanted to drop his shit on my channel at first.
Solid, yeah.
And LaRussell's blew up. Like, to me, like people, some people might get mad, but you can't look at NorCal rap and not say LaRussell had a top 5 year out of anybody you want to bring up. Anybody you want to bring up.
I mean, can we have that conversation? How would you market? How would you say would be the best strategy to market our shit? You know what I mean? Because we're artists in our own routes, but it's like we're not at the same time. You know what I mean? So like
ooh, yeah. Let me get your answer first. I'm interested in this one. I got mine, but I'm gonna hear yours first.
Honestly, I just feel like having content, and I feel like with me right now, it's been about my biggest my biggest thoughts when I get into like trying to market my shit is one, finding the right people, and also I'll try to find people that haven't done a lot of interviews, because sometimes the market can be like real dried up if someone does hella interviews. So I always try to find like who's hot and like who hasn't done a lot of interviews. But I think something that's been big for me recently is questions that stand out and that people are gonna want to click on. I think finding what's viral, finding what's gonna get people to click on your videos is super important, because at the end of the day, you can interview somebody that's a prominent person that people do want to hear about, but if you don't ask them the right things, nobody
out of them.
Filming, more cameras. People always tell me more cameras, and I'm gonna do that in the future. But presentation, how does it look when someone sees it on Instagram? Does it appealing? Does it catch their eye? And I think it was a podcast. I think it was a podcast I just seen recently on Instagram. They're talking about wild shit. They're talking about like sexual things, like with dealing with females or whatever. But like, it has to be something that people actually want to hear about. And I feel like I'm like that's the biggest challenge when it comes with like, cause when you're doing interviews, sometimes you might interview somebody who like they might be a street dude, or they might not even be ready for some of the questions you're gonna ask. But like, how can you turn this like, say, interview that's gonna get 3K views into a 10K interview? You're gonna have to ask some things that are gonna be off the wall, and I feel like that's been my biggest thing. TikTok, I didn't want to be on TikTok. I got on TikTok,
I feel you on that.
So how do y'all feel about that though too? Cause like for me, I'm gonna keep saying I ain't that type of dude. I ain't never been the type of dude to just want to pull that out of somebody either. You know what I mean? So like there's that balance where it's like I want the views, but do I want them that bad to necessarily, you know what I mean, ask them?
You gotta gauge what you asking, and I feel like that's the biggest thing. So like with me, I'm never gonna push the envelope too hard, but like I would say for me, and like I'll say this: when I first started doing interviews, I didn't want to be controversial at all. Like that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to deal with that. As I got more into the space and shit, I was realizing like you can't allow, basically, say for example, somebody does an interview with me, I don't ask them about anything controversial. Like the interview is gonna do what it does. They go on No Jumper, Say Cheese, or Vlad or something, they're going to ask them everything that needs to be asked. And that's the thing that I'm on now. I'm going to ask somebody everything that I feel that should be asked, but I'm not going to like overstep the boundary.
They answer to those people for a reason, right?
Let me say this though. It's also big to talk to your people in person before you're about to interview them. So like, for example, I interviewed EBK Trey B this week or whatever. There's some controversial things that I knew I was going to ask him. I asked him before. I said, is there anything you don't want to talk about? I do that. Is there anything that you don't want to bring up? And I offer a lot of my guests that opportunity before.
Yeah, get it out the way.
And then they tell me, or I'll be like, okay, I want to talk about this. They'll be like, that's cool. So like, when people watch the interview, they might be like, damn, he asked him something that was like hella controversial, but like, when we're in the interview, it's not that energy and it's not like that vibe because we've already discussed it before. So they already let me know that they want to talk about it, or they don't. Even if they didn't want to talk about something, there's people that been like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, all right, cool. Even like, for example, if y'all familiar with Only Be Peasy, he did an interview. He was drinking a little bit. He did like a Twitch live with AD.
That Twitch one that gets everybody.
He did a Twitch live interview, and he said some things on there that he really Not that he might have meant for sure. He probably did mean, but he was a little intoxicated. It might have been shit that he didn't really want out. I interviewed him the next day. Of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm like,
let's touch on that.
For sure.
Let's touch on that.
But he really wasn't trying to talk about all that. So it's like,
type of shit where they just look back, they're like, fuck.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not.
You ever see like drunk videos of yourself the next day? You're like on Instagram or you've seen the videos and you hear yourself when you was drunk and you're like, God damn, why'd I put that shit?
No, for sure. I'm like, you gotta respect that. I'm respectful of people's wishes. I'm not about to push the envelope, but like, I wouldn't interview somebody that has a beef going on and then be like, not ask about it. I'm gonna say, look, this is what's going on.
It's ballsy though. Are you ballsy enough to ask?
You gotta
that
be
question?
ballsy in this.
Ballsy? Like,
Yeah,
honestly, Pop, saying, like, talk to me. Like, are you ballsy enough?
My perspective on it is, I think it's what you said. Like, they're always open to say, yo, you know what, I'm not trying to talk about that. Or two, I watched it in a $1 million worth of game interview where Wallow, he was talking about every time he's gonna release a podcast, like he always watches it personally because he wants to protect whoever's on that chair or in that mic. Because at the end of the day, like something could have been said because they trust you, you having a conversation, and then that could be used against them. So now it's like, damn, you almost set them up in a way. So that, I think it's just being careful.
But no, and I do that with every video because like now I think now I do every term stamp. I don't. Sometimes I have other people do it, but for the most part now I do all of them. So like for example, Tear It Off Greasy, really has some things going on in the streets, like to say the least.
Yeah.
When I did that interview, of course I'm knowing like, all right, and there's things that I asked him that I took out.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask him on some like I asked him about things that I know people want to know. And I feel like that was something that I feel was able to help me go to the next level because I'm always ask questions that I care about that I personally feel like I want the fans to hear. But there's also questions that the fans want to know. And so you really have to gauge like, yeah, I want to ask this controversial question, but how can I ask it in the right way? I think those are the challenges as an interviewer you have to like conquer because to me, like I'm not gonna miss out on a good clip because of personally, I feel like okay, it's a little controversial, but like
if you don't ask, you don't know.
When someone comes do an interview, and I feel like they're coming to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
But they know what they got going on.
Yeah. But it's also to your defense. I mean, even the higher up, the biggest podcast platforms, radio stuff, they do that all the time too. You talk about like Breakfast Club, they talk about, or at least Charlamagne does. He says they've done interviews that they haven't even released, that they deal with certain artists that like, yo, we're trying to protect them. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they know that at the end of the day, it's entertainment and it's that shock value. You know what I'm saying? Like they know that they might not try to intentionally try to get some shit out of you, but they know what they're asking because at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and they understand that like you got to generate, at least if you want to be successful, you got to generate the retention factor,
And my thing is also, I'm not going to go out my way to ask something. So like, for example, if I interview somebody that do have some stuff going on, I'm only going to ask them about what I see, what I've seen, and what I know that could be addressed. I'm not going to ask them about something that is he say, she say, or I've never seen on the internet or a fake page on Instagram DM me about. Like, I'm not going to do that. But like, say someone has some stuff going on and it's all over the internet, like,
yeah,
I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask.
Not gonna ask that?
You have to like, you have to like to me, you have to be wise with what you ask, but don't be afraid and be smart about how you ask things because I feel like the way you ask a question is definitely the big determiner on how someone receives it. So like, usually when I ask something controversial, I'll be like, I'll alert them. I'll be like, this is a controversial question. Say what you want to say. And so I ask the question and I'll set the floor for them so they can say whatever they want to say. So it's not like you're not putting a gun to anyone's head and saying like, give me a real clip here.
Yeah, right.
But you're saying like, what I do is I just set the stage for them to address it how they want to address it. Like something like even with like a controversial with me earlier in this year. I interviewed Shooter Gang Coney. Of course, everybody's seen what him and Mozzie had going back and forth. Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't about to interview Coney and not ask him about that. Right. He hadn't said anything about it.
It's
like,
part of the story. You're just telling the story.
At the end of the day, I'm the interviewer. That's what people want to know. I didn't ask him for my personal livelihood because personally that has no effect on my life. I really don't care about it. Like, I'd rather see everybody get along. But at the end of the day, records were dropped, videos were put out. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it would be a disservice to you as an interviewer if you say. I'll say this: if I put out an interview and I didn't ask him about it, the comments
they
would be
get
like,
up on you like, why didn't you ask?
You didn't ask him about this. Like, yeah, man, like you're the interviewer. That's what people want to hear about. Like,
like I said, it's that shock value we're trying to create too.
Sure.
So I understand it too, like being hesitant, you feel me? But also, like, you know, like you said earlier, it's kind of the way you go about it. Like, you want to make them feel comfortable and know that your intentions are pure, right? Your intentions are not, I'm not trying to castrate you or try to get you in trouble on some shit, but also, like, if we're just telling the story how it is. So it's up to you how you come about it too, you know what I'm saying? So, and they also, at the end of the day, they have the ultimate de facto, you know, quote unquote trump card to be like, they could be like, you know what, I don't feel like talking about the next question.
And I'll always tell people that. I'm like, anything you don't want to talk about, tell me next question. Mm-hmm. But I like that though. To me, it's a chess match with interviewing. Like, it's like
see where they're gonna go with it.
If someone tells you next question, to me, it puts you on the spot as an interviewer because it's like, okay, I gotta keep the conversation going now.
Bounce right back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My question I want to ask for y'all is, when it comes to putting out content, do you let people see it before it drops?
Me personally, I don't. I don't let people see it because, well, it depends on. So I do. So my episodes drop every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's the same shit. Unless it's running late, I'll put like a thing running late. You know what I'm saying? I don't put it out until it fully drops because I feel like my situation maybe a little bit, maybe you can relate to too. Like, is that I do all the editing for everything, and it's a struggle sometimes to even get that to reach it for the 7, right? But I'm hesitant too because I feel like I want to get the full. I'm like pretty picky with it. Like, I want to make sure everything is like polished, cleaned up, or whatever before I actually put it out. Before it even goes out. And you know what? Also, I don't do for the YouTubes. I don't even do the premieres yet. And maybe that's something I'm lacking on. I'm gonna do it eventually if you know once it gets bigger. But I don't even drop the premieres yet. So sometimes, like when I do these episodes, I like I said, maybe it goes back to what I was saying with that shock value. I want to do episodes or interviews that I do. I want when I drop them, people be like, "Oh shit!" Like, I gotta tune in. I gotta tune in now. Or, "Oh shit, they got this. Oh, I've always wanted this person." Or, "I'm interested in this person. Oh damn, I gotta go check it out now." So I just try to create that shock value from and use that surprise element.
What I want people like home to realize though is like it doesn't always have to be the person too though. And I think like it gets caught up in that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because we see it work, bro. There's people out here that are doing like by themselves getting 12 million views. Like, how the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, a doctor just talked about the brain, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's like that in that aspect. It's like I know we talk about in like interviews and like having conversations with people and like, hey, like bringing us together and like as a form of marketing as well, but it's not always that either. So it's a message too, right? You know what I'm saying? It's all about what it is.
What you're talking about is huge, and who's the one talking about it? A doctor interview talking about certain things will go bananas.
Oh yeah,
like if you know YouTube, you know, like
you
can get 1 million views off how-to videos or how to tie Jordans.
Why do you think that is?
There's the things that people just naturally need to see. So like, for example, how to program a car key or how to
change a battery.
Oh, the curiosity, right?
You know,
how do the people do that?
And a lot of people are visual learners. So if you're showing something, even like it's like for me, I'm getting into like cooking and stuff. So like, how to make homemade Alfredo sauce or how to make this type of pasta. Those videos have millions of views.
I just got an air fryer. I'm on the air fryer wave. How long do I do that
shit?
There's
plenty of videos you can make with the air fryer that people will watch and you'll get paid off of. And it's just like, but I do agree with you though. Like, depending on who you're bringing on, or like, I got put on to like Soft White Underbelly, and they interview random people. And it gets a lot of views for sure. But it's about. I think it's just what you're asking and like who is the person? Like what are
and that's to talk about it too. I think that's the platform you build as well. They trust Soft White Underbelly. Whoever is on Soft White Underbelly is gonna bring them a story. You know what I mean? So they know when they tune in to Innovator, hypocritical as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Neighborhood Heroes. They know what the fuck we're bringing. Blowing Smoke. We know what we're bringing and why they tune into that. You know what I mean? But like that, to answer your question though, on like letting people see before.
like I'm talking about the person that's on the guest.
Oh, letting them see.
Yeah, do you like the guest? The guest.
No,
okay.
no.
No. Yeah.
No.
You don't let the guest see?
Absolutely not.
So sometimes, here and there. Yeah.
Here and there?
No.
No. Why not though?
I mean, it's one of them ones where it's like we're here to push the culture forward. We're not here to do anything else. So at the end of the day, the guest has to respect what we got going on, and then they gotta know that hey, we're here in the best interest of you, just like us. So when you see it, no. Yeah, I was
I'll do something here and there. Like, it just depends. Yeah.
It's like
what do you mean? Like you're letting them see the full episode? You're sending them a link prior?
Before I drop any interview, I let them watch it. The whole
Really?
thing. Yeah, everyone. Any
like a private link.
Now that I think about it, I don't think a guest is asked either.
I'll keep the link unlisted. I let them see, but like,
do you send it?
I send them a link.
But do you send it? They don't ask.
I always send it. I always tell them when we're done. Before I drop it, you get like my whole thing. I tell everybody is I'm gonna send you the link. You give me the green light. I'm gonna drop. I don't even do the timestamp until they give me the green light because they still might tell me they want to take something out.
Do you think that gives but that's the thing too, is like that gives them reign to do that.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm okay with somebody telling me they want to take something out because at the end of the day, like what they say is gonna come back on them more than me. Yeah. So like I'm cool with them being like, I don't really like that. Or even like certain people be like, yo, like I don't really have the full time to watch it, but can you just watch and make sure I didn't say nothing too crazy? And then I have to really go through and use my judgment on what and I think that's the tougher battle because when something is good for my channel, it might not always be good for them. And there's been things in the past I've taken out. There's been beefs that could have been started off things that were said in interviews, and I've taken it out. And I think that's it's all about how do you want the success to come. I don't always want to, like, I'm not afraid to ask controversial questions. I'll do that all day, but like, I don't want it to be like this is all that he's doing is asking controversial shit.
Yeah.
I know that it's like it's all like, to me, a good interview is a mix of it all. Like,
yes,
like it has to be. Some parts are gonna be controversial. Some parts aren't. Some parts are gonna be
ups and downs,
informational. It's like a roller coaster ride. But yeah, everyone who does an interview with me, they see it before it drops.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's
Can
interesting.
be annoying at times.
You've been doing this for a while, man. I really want to pick your brain on you. I feel like we kind of been tapping into like the actual questions for a minute, but like, you were able to monetize your work, and that's major, bro. Like, especially because you started working with a radio station. Why did you start working there?
Really, my mom worked at radio my whole life, so I always kind of been around radio, and that opportunity literally it came really from college. So I guess it goes back to saying college is a good thing at times, but interning. So I interned at Power 106 for about a year almost, and there was where kind of the interviewing idea kind of grew because I was like, damn, this is what they're doing up here at the radio station, and they were bringing in a lot of people from LA, so with the LA Leakers, but people from all over too. But basically, my job at my first radio station came because the guy that I was interning for knew the owner of the station. And I saw they had a job on Indeed, and I applied, but it said like 500 people applied, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's no way they're fucking with me. So I called the guy. I guess networking relationships is big. I called the guy. He called the owner, and he said for him to come in on Monday. And there was a lot of stuff going on at the time. My mom was in the hospital. There was like a big thing in my family on like if I should move back to the Bay or not. And that was tough for me because I didn't want to move back to the Bay. I knew I wanted to be in LA, but I ended up staying. I ended up getting the job. And before I ever did interviews with rappers, I did sports talk. What I really love, I still want to get back into doing sports talk, but like that's what was like the basis of doing it.
We're going to get into sports talk.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to get into that shit.
When I came to the station, he was like, basically like, use this station as like your guide in your life, like whatever you want to do. And as far as, because they had 3 different like podcasting rooms, interview rooms, whatever. They had stuff they had things in there that I probably would never have free access to ever again in my life. And I never really even was considering interviewing rappers, but my homie who was a rapper, he was pushing me to interview him. C5, shout out C5. He was like, bro, interview me. And I was like, I don't know. But then I was like, well, shit, I got this whole space here. They said I can use. It's free.
Yeah. Why not?
Now I pay every interview I do. It costs me money. Like, I knew at that time that it would never be like that again. And it's kind of funny when I think back on it because, so originally when they were telling me to do it, they didn't really believe what I was going to do, or they didn't see that vision. So, like, literally, they were telling me, like, you got your paycheck, but you can make extra money off sponsorship. They didn't even think that I would even start doing nothing, right? Literally, in a month, I have a sponsor. They're flipping the fuck out in there. They're like, wait, he has a sponsor now? And then, at the same time, so, like, for me, I've, like, my platform really took off in the same week because I interviewed I Am Sue, which has been like someone I've known for a long time.
That's a goal.
And I interviewed All Black.
I'm trying to get him.
I want to. We can talk to Sue.
Okay, cool.
I interviewed Sue. I interviewed All Black in the same week. I Am Sue. That's always, I would say, like, to me, he on the Mount Rushmore of Bay Area artists.
Oh, hands down,
for sure. And
You're fucking T.
That's my guy. So, like, that was a big interview for me, especially because at that time I really hadn't interviewed anybody that nobody knew.
How did you get a hold of him?
I had already knew I Am Sue from back in the past, from like being around. Like, we from the same city. Cool John is actually my neighbor.
And the man tapped in, bro.
And I interviewed All Black because his manager at the time, All Black's manager at that time, was my teammate in high school. And it was crazy, which is to show you how shit is. I Am Sue, Rex Life Raj, and All Black all had a show in LA. And my goal for that week was to try to get all 3 of them. I ended up not being able to get Raj because he had a lot of more shit going on, I guess, that weekend. But I was able to get All Black. And at that time, All Black was like the hottest thing in the Bay Area. Everybody was All Black. And when I got him in there, and I got both of them that same week, everybody was like, it was rappers that I had never thought would knowing about my shit were hitting me up. And like, I still, like, one of my favorite moments, like, when I was first starting out was I woke up one morning and I'm checking like my request DMs. It's Jay Styling in my DMs talking about, let's do an interview. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay, I might really have something here because I grew up on Jay Styling. And moments like that, it just kind of make you believe, okay, like, I got some here. Because when you start out, when I was just telling my cousin about the idea to do interviews and shit, I didn't know what it would be. I didn't know if it would be big or not, but I think it just was like, fuck it. I got this situation here that I might never have again in my life. And shit, I want to take advantage of it. And I think, like, I did. Even though it ended up not ending as good as I wanted it to end, I still, when I look back on the situation, I know that it changed my life.
Yeah.
You know? And it wasn't easy. I think even, like, if y'all know, like, when you have a job, sometimes you have to align yourself and fit in, even if you're not truly aligned to fit in that position. I think that's what I did there. But it only helped me. Yes. Like, it only helped me. And I when I look back at the situation, I took full advantage of it. And I feel like sometimes that's what it's about. When the opportunity comes, you got to seize it, you know?
Comes knocking, you got to answer that call.
So that was like the biggest thing with that for sure.
Yeah. So then you started with the first artist, and then you said, hold on, like, this is something I actually.
When I interviewed C5, I was like, oh, damn, I kind of like this.
I didn't know C5 was your first one, bro.
That was my first interview, and that's the thing. Me and C5 went to high school together, so I was a lot more comfortable doing that interview than, like, it was a good conversation. I feel like, I mean, you know, when you do interviews, like, it's all about the vibe. So for that to be my first one, the vibe was right there, and I think it just opened my eyes. Like, okay, I think I want to keep doing this, and from there, that being my first one to, like, looking back on it now, it's like, Damn, it is kind of crazy. I really don't ever really take the time to smell the flowers per se. Like I'm always just like trying to find the next one, but like it's been a lot of interviews for sure.
That's solid.
Is there one that like really sticks out for whatever reason, like most inspirational?
I would think one of my favorite interviews that I've interviewed him twice has always been Mr. Fab.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like I always feel like something I always admire about Fab is that even if I know Fab personally doesn't care for somebody or they're not the biggest fan of them, he never says nothing bad about them. Everything he says comes out like poetry, and it's just real. Like he doesn't, and like he's a person who he's been through so much. He's been through so many eras of music. Like he has so much wisdom, and like he never not wanted to see me win. I feel like that's the we were talking about like staying connected with the people that you interview. Like with him, he always been like whatever you need. Like it's not always you get people that are like whatever you need, I got you. You feel me? Thanks. And he always just drop game and drop gems. Like you know when you look at your YouTube comments, people still be commenting on these old interviews. Like, damn, I've just watched this and I learned so much from watching this. I think those are always the videos where I get the most joy from.
Yeah.
But Mr. Fab always stick out. I think an interview that was kind of crazy for me was DDG and how that whole interview happened.
Got him early too.
Yeah.
What happened?
Basically, I got hit by a car in 2020 walking out of my apartment. And so I was already going to my homie's studio at that day, and I still ended up going. And when I got there, I was telling him what happened. He was like, I got a lawyer for you. They here. And so the lawyer, me chopping it up or whatever, and I was just happened to be on YouTube one day, and I see my lawyer in the DDG vlog. And I'm like, I sent it to him. I'm like, hey, what's up with you and DDG? Like, that's my client. I'm like, oh, what's up? Can we get an interview done? He's like, I got you. And I'm like, ain't no fucking way he about to have DDG come up here. But he really came through with that. And like,
that's wild,
I still be
bro.
seeing, and the funny thing is, I be seeing a lot of YouTubers though, like at the gym. So like, I interviewed like Black Charcoal recently. I see him at the gym.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that like have 1 million followers or some crazy shit. And they just be at the gym working out.
What gym you go to, motherfucker?
I don't want to put my gym out there. I'll tell you off air.
Okay, I'm trying to join you.
All right, let me ask you this question. So when you're asking these people, because essentially you're asking them for their time, you're asking them to do business, right? Like right now, you just made a business deal with us, right? But what is your energy coming off? Because I really believe that energy is currency.
Yeah.
So instead of offering like, yo, let me give you 1,000, like, yo, what's up, bro? I'm a big, what do you say? Like, what's your energy?
I mean, usually when I meet somebody and I'm trying to interview, I'm like, yo, like, I literally probably like got my phone out, I'm like, oh, this is my YouTube channel. Like, I'd love to bring you on for an interview. Like, if they've got the time to do it, like, let's do it. And like what you said is definitely huge because now you would think that like when you build your platform up, like you would think that people aren't gonna want to get paid to do interviews. There's people that have asked me to pay them for doing interviews, but I've really only paid 2 people ever. And the only reason I paid them, and I'll say this, I'm giving you some exclusive content right here. I'm only paid 2 people ever to do interviews, and the only reason I paid them is because I knew that I would get more than I put in.
Right.
And so at that time, it's a business decision. But there's been plenty of people I've hit up that tell me to pay. Typically, I'm not gonna pay. Usually, I'll just be like, nah, I'll wait until it makes sense. But like one person I paid, but he only does pay interviews. Crip Mac.
Who?
Oh, yeah.
Crip Mac.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, okay.
He only does pay interviews, and I got scammed by a fake Crip Mac page, which is crazy.
It happens, bro.
I did a story time about that.
How much
video.
you pay, bro?
Bro, it was only like $240.
Okay, it wasn't
Pay
bad.
more for someone to even show up. That's another
That's
thing.
disrespectful as shit.
That's what the fuck
But, like,
going on.
That's another thing.
Oh,
For example, to be real, I paid Crip Mac really, I got scammed by his old Instagram that got hacked. So I probably sent them I sent him 120, and I sent the other person 120, and I still had to pay him the 120 that I had already spent. But at the end of the day, that interview, Crip Mac for the Trouble did 2 interviews with me in that moment. So like we did one 40-minute interview,
Damn.
We took a smoke break. He was drinking Old English and whatever the fuck else he was drinking. He changed his shirt, put on a new bandana, and we did a whole nother interview. Literally of things that whatever I could just think of. And a lot of those clips were going viral. So like I say, I spent $360 total. So, in addition to getting scammed or whatever. But I probably made like $5K.
There you go.
So like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm not dumb. Like, and that was the thing about, I think another thing that I feel like will take you to the next level. Sometimes you gotta swallow your pride, especially as the interviewer, because when it comes to interviewing, you need like people to come on. Like not even like you need people. You gotta have guests, especially like with me that I do like I only have guests. Like if I don't have guests, I'm not like there's nothing for me to really do. Right. So like I couldn't have this mindset of like my mindset. Well, really I don't pay people like that, but I know eventually there might be somebody that I want to interview that I might have to break some bread for.
Yeah,
I know all the big guys are paying.
Yeah, they are.
Well, you know what? On the contrary, bro, I was just reading a Forbes article and they were talking about how guests are gonna start paying podcasters to come on.
I paid them,
and that's simply because that at the end of the day, it's you're both adding value. Like, you're bringing them on, but you're also letting them speak about their life, and you're doing the editing, you're doing the producing, you're doing the
I think it works
marketing.
both ways. I couldn't get paid to do interviews, which I have, and not feel like I would ever have to pay anybody. But for example, if somebody tells me, there's been plenty of people that told me, "Oh yeah, bro, I charge this," and it's like, nah. But there's like, also the other person I paid to do an interview was Fulio, and I know the only reason I did that because I knew it would be a good look for me, and I knew that like it was outside of my market. You feel me? And how was I gonna break into a Florida market? I don't know anybody from Florida. Yeah. So I did that one too, and I'm not gonna say I made $5K like Crip Mac, but I at least made like $1,500.
Yeah.
You feel me?
So let's talk about that. Like monetizing your content. Like obviously it's a business investment. Like we're talking about, but like that. Do you remember that pivot point to where you went from this is a hobby, is something I love to do, I'm kind of good at it, to hold on, this is a real career now?
I think when I started with my cameraman originally, what we did that was beneficial is I filmed like 20 interviews before I ever dropped. And so when I started dropping on my channel, anybody who just starts a YouTube, you got to know, like, you got to have 1K subscribers. And when at the time I started, I don't know if it's changed, but you have to have 4,000 hours of watch time.
Yeah,
okay, so
it just recently
it's good. You're gonna have to drop some videos to get 4,000 hours of watch time.
I just recently got that.
Like
congratulations, bro.
I just recently got that.
Nah, congrats on that for sure. So like,
shit ain't easy.
My first video that went crazy for me was not even a Bay rapper. It was Troy Ave. And so that was like my first 10K interview. And then they just start kind of getting views, more and more views, and like, boom, I got the 1K, I got the 1K, I got the 4,000 hours of watch time, and I was like, oh shit, like I might have something here. And just being consistent, honestly, bro. Like once I started to see like, okay, people are actually hitting me up to do this. It's not just like nobody. It's not going unnoticed. Like people are contacting me. People are, and even to look at back on it now, people are flying down. People are flying from wherever. I've had people fly from the East Coast.
That's the crazy part. I be saying that too. I say Innovator got people pulling up on him. We can get people pulling up on us. I got, you know what I'm saying? And I say that because I know you personally. You know,
you can do like
why do you think they're pulling up?
They want to come on your platform. They like what you do. I feel like it wasn't the space now. Like with interviewing, it's different than when I started. It wasn't really a lot of people doing it. Like especially like when I looked at Northern California. The reason I really thought it could be something special at the beginning. Now when I think about it too, was I didn't really see anybody interviewing people unless they were already kind of popping like that. Like KBL wouldn't bring you on for an interview unless you had a hit song. You know, there wasn't like something for the underground in Northern California. Yeah. So I feel like that was a void that was missing. But
So do you think this work is needed?
for sure, because at the end of the day, when it comes to being the interviewer, like for example, I seen your shit before I ever knew you, and that just the power of social media. So I'm like, okay, I like the way it's filmed. I like it. I see it. So like, boom, I see it. Boom. But like, a lot of people are trying to do it, but your shit definitely stood out. So when it comes to being in the interview space, if your shit stand out and you're getting on people that are posting it, they're reposting it, which I also think is huge when you're first starting. Are people post like
my granddaddy
the
daughter?
person you interview? Are they gonna repost? Are they gonna do collab posts with you?
Oh,
like,
my granddaddy daughter.
like, and people like I don't even get mad at people that don't promote it at the end of the day, but like I feel like if we're gonna do the interview, like what's more beneficial to you and me than to post it? Your people get to see it. Like you came and sat down with me for an hour.
Yeah.
Why don't you want
That was
to?
money.
Come on now, like, but it's definitely needed. I feel like as a person doing the interviews, I think it's good because somebody that you might want to interview might not be on my radar, and boom, you do an interview with them. I'm like, okay, I like that person. I feel like doing interviews help people get more interviews. Vice versa. If someone sees someone do an interview with me, perfect example right here. So recently, Say Cheese, Sean Connery shouted me out in his Pablo Skywalker interview that he did. So shout out to Sean Cotton. But
Shout out, Sean.
he saw my interview with Pablo Skywalker. Nobody has saw Pablo do an interview in a long time. Yeah. And the only reason I hit Pablo up was because I had been knowing about Pablo for a long time, but I saw him, he was in the Bay. And he was doing features. You know he do the $300 features. If you follow him on Instagram, he got the features for $300. I hit him up like, yo, I'm in the Bay. Like, can we do an interview? I know you don't do interviews like that. And he was like, bro, I've been seeing your shit for a while. Come on. Literally, that same day, we knocked it out. And literally 2 months later, or maybe a month later, he was doing Say Cheese. Because Sean Collins seen it on my shit. Jeez. So, like, doing interviews is a big help to the artist because people are seeing them on there. Yeah. Like, and that's what makes it dope. And I think that's what takes it to the next level because the more platforms, the more opportunities. Somebody that you like or that you might be on, I might not be on yet. But you done brought them to me. Or I might brought them to you. Like, it's vice versa. Like, that's just how it is in this space. And I think the more platforms, the more people that are being highlighted, the more people that we're seeing. Yeah. And it's just all like a mixing pot. Somebody gonna want to bring you on. Somebody might want to bring them on. Like that's what happens with it. And I think it's big for the industry. And I feel like the more people that come into it, it also everyone's not gonna make it. It's the same thing with rap. Everyone's not gonna be the biggest person. But if you truly want to do this and you truly believe in what you got going and you're consistent with it, I don't see why there's no way you couldn't be successful with it.
Facts. Yeah, no, I agree, bro. Yeah. And damn, I just had a thought in my mind, man. I was gonna, Jonah, I forget, man.
Happens to the best of us.
Happens to all of us, I think. Yeah,
that's why I tell you. That's why I said I write shit. Yeah, I had to write, type it down before I forget.
Nah, you said some real shit, bro. And that's what I'm saying. Like I love all this because you storytelling at this point. You just speaking on your experience, and you've been in this game for a while, bro. You really have, and that's why I admire this because like you were able to build up that. You know, that trust within the artists that you're interviewing because, you know, it's important to document. You know what I'm saying? I really do believe that, like, you know, that's why we're so big on La Russell is because he's documenting what he's doing. And, you know, he's doing it in a way that no one really has. Like, I don't know if you guys seen the Kanye documentary or the docuseries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like, it literally shows him going to these labels and getting turned down. And it's like, at that moment, it's just some kid just trying to go in the office showing them their music. Who the fuck knew that kid was gonna turn to Kanye?
You never know, and I think there's always. I think that's another thing that always will come with being in this industry and being on this side. There might be somebody that hits you up that blows up that you were sleep on, and that happened to me. It's happened to me 3 times. That's happened to me 3 times. There's been 3 people that I was supposed to interview. I mean, that want to do interviews that it wasn't that I was, it's not even that I was asleep on them. It just, like, at the time, it just didn't really make sense to me, or I didn't even know who they were. And really, you didn't even pay attention like that. So many people can send you their music that you might be like, oh, it's just another person. I'm having a bad day. I don't even want to look at this shit. But another person, Rimble, hit me up
They were crying.
before he popped. And literally,
Rimble?
like a year later, was sick about that one. Also, Compton asked TG. I was interviewing him, and he popped too. And then LaRussell, he went to a whole nother stratosphere. Like, but I mean, I still did an interview with LaRussell, and he was still. It wasn't like he was.
It was late though.
It was.
It was that your fault. That was your fault, bro. Don't lie.
That
You
was
know
my
it was
fault
your
for
fault.
sure. I take full blame on that. Like, basically, I could have been one of the first people ever to interview LaRussell.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I was asleep. It was just like I truly wasn't grasping in my mind. I was working with my homie at the time. We both weren't grasping. Like, why does he want to give us all? Like, if I can, I think I still got the message. He was like, I'm not worried about the money. I was like, this damn near sound too good to be true.
So what do you think he was trying to do at that moment with like what you guys were building?
He just was like, he knew I had a platform where people are looking for content already. So it's like the same way as somebody would drop their video on Thizzler or No Jumper. The people that want to see shit are already there. And I think that's what like he would. And I feel like he fucked with what I was doing. At the end of the day, I should have looked more into it. But like,
Everyone has.
I'm glad he's doing everything he's doing.
Thanks.
Like he's like what he's doing is different. It's not normal, and I feel like it fits him. Like everybody, majority of people couldn't do what LaRussell does, and I think that's what makes it crazy unique. Like there's majority of rappers in Northern California wouldn't even want people to know where they live. They couldn't throw a show in their backyard.
At all.
Like that's a different type of artist.
The fact that we've mentioned him twice already, plus we mentioned him when off camera, and everybody that talks about him every week, like, bro, like, that's alone.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And then speaking of platforms, bro, Sam, I just want to let you know, bro, I appreciate you for letting me join you on yours, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It's for real, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
For sure.
No, it's love, man, and I think that's my whole point in this, man. We gonna take 1,000 shots, like LaRussell says, because you know there's just not enough content you can get. Like something great can come out of anything, and that's my whole vision on this thing. It's like, man, if you available now, if you available in a year, you available 5 years, we running this shit because we gonna get something from it. So that's my whole point behind all this. Is just like, man, how many heads can we get on these mics and just talk, bro, speak real game. Somebody gonna get something, you know. They gonna grow. So,
no, for sure. I think another thing that he told me when we did our interview, because when I first did my interviews, I never put them in clips. I only did the long video. I didn't even do timestamps, to be honest.
Fucked up, bro.
Hey, he probably took that.
No, you fucked up, right?
No, he was just telling me like, bro, like, you need to break this shit down. He was like, you need to break these things down in the clip. Like you got to break it in the clips.
Damn, but it just shows that hustle, bro.
And I was like, he was like, you missing out on hella money, not putting out clips. Then I started to put out the clips, and like some of them 2-minute videos got 50,000 views, 100,000 views, and it's like, damn, like. But I cater to both the markets. I know there's people that want to see the clips, there's people that want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to cater to everybody.
Facts. Yeah, no, I think one of the camera just died.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Do you don't got the long?
Nah. No, it's nah.
All right, well, yeah, we still rolling right here, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we good.
No, but I gotta remember it's already 6.
You chilling? Yeah.
I gotta cut out.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure.
All right.
My bad.
Appreciate you for coming, brother.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, we gonna talk soon.
Hey, but I gotta take this one.
Now you're good. Man, let's finish off with some motivation, man. I know your logo or your motto right now is reach past the stars. Where did that come from?
Reach past the stars. Basically, the whole mindset behind because they always tell people to reach to the stars, and I always say reach past the stars because if you reach past the stars, that means even if you don't like get that far up, you'll still be in the stars at least. So like, just go past the norm. Go past what people the regular things that people are telling you to do. Like do extra. Like, and I think with this space and this field, it's kind of like the same things where I say I'm always trying to cater to the viewer. So like, I'll do the timestamp. I'll edit out the thing that I don't think they should say. Like, I'm willing to go above and beyond for innovators at all times because this is my brand. This is really what I love to do. So I'm always willing to go past the norm or past what the average thing is that people are doing. Like, nah, I want to go next level. If I have to do an interview at 3 a.m., I'll do it. I'll do an interview at 6 a.m., I'll do it. There's no limit on when I can get content done and when I'll put it out. Like, I'll do an interview and put it out the next day. I don't care. Like, I want to really do this. And I think when I say reach past the stars, it's do it, but do it to the extreme. Like, be all in. And we all in with it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So where do you think that drive comes from for you?
Really just my whole life being an athlete, playing football. My mom, my dad, my family wanting to change people's lives. I feel like that's been huge for me. Like, my mom, she has a kidney disease, right? Even with her, we were trying to find her a kidney transplant. Like, those are things that I think about every day, and I know that the harder I go, the more I build my platform, the easier some things, the opportunities and things are to find. Like, I just want to be able to say that at the end of the day, my life, I went hard for what I wanted and to accomplish my goals. I didn't take days off. Like, even now, we're getting back into being healthy and working out. Like, it's hard for me to take a day off from the gym. And it's not that I love working out. I mean, I love it more now, but like, I love feeling that I'm working on my health every day, and I feel like that's something that I wasn't focused. I think that's helping me better in interviewing, better and just having a clearer mind. Is just being healthier, not eating fast food, like doing different shit like that. Like, it's just a whole like lifestyle type of thing. You feel me?
Facts. Yeah. So would you say like your personal life plays a lot into like your career and your?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the thing that I thought made the innovator shit cool was like I was asking things that I feel like a lot of people wanted to know about or hear about, or no one was asking. I was doing it in my own way, and I feel like that's unique to every interviewer. Like, you might ask a question in a completely different way than me, and that's good because that will make you stand out. So I feel like who I am and my life experiences made me a good interviewer because a lot of people weren't asking things in a similar way. It's not like that as much no more because I feel like with your success and when people see you doing your thing, people will copy you. But it doesn't really bother me. At first, it used to bother me a lot, but now I really don't care. I'm just like, at the end of the day, I'm me. Nobody could truly copy me, but like, the more you do something, the better it gets. The more people are watching, there's gonna be people that want to ask similar questions and do similar type of shit. But like, that just comes with the game. There's people out here copying everybody.
Yeah. No, I think there's that controversial saying of like, game is sold, not told.
Yeah, for sure.
You get what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. Like, I got inspired by Kevin Hart, LaRussell. He's not selling none of his shit, saying all for free. And so I'm going to keep saying, like, yo, I'm going to just keep telling the wisdom because at the end of the day, like, you got to be at a certain level. And that's the thing. Like, I've interviewed LaRussell before, and if I got the opportunity to sit down with him again, I'd be like, bro, like, you're vibing at a certain level right now. Like, what is that like? Like, everything he touches, it's turning to gold type shit because he's been able to cultivate that type of energy. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was like, that shit is crazy, though. The pay what you want.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You know, we're going to release some merch right now. I'm going to show you. It says Energy is Currency with Nipsey Hussle in the center. And that's the thing. Nipsey Hussle started that campaign of this is priceless, pay whatever it means to you. That, like, I don't remember the exact same, but that was Nipsey Hussle when, you know, he was when he was alive. And that's what I had forgot earlier, bro, was like, man, at the end of the day, dude, we don't, like, Nipsey Hussle's a great example, someone who did all these interviews, did all this and that, and you watch this shit and you're left off thirsty. You're left off thirsty because you're like, damn, what more could he created? What more could he said? What more could he impacted? All that stuff. So the way I look at these interviews is like, man, you alive today, but God forbid something happen to you tomorrow, bro. Like, you just went through a whole lot of shit.
Me too.
You got all these wisdom, all this stuff.
Me too. I mean, yeah, bro. Bro, that's one of the toughest things with this shit,
Yeah,
man.
especially you.
There's been several people that I interviewed that have passed away, and I feel like that's one of the hardest things to deal with. And I think that's what always made me love in interviewing even more, because these things will always be here. But that's tough for me too. Like, I'm not gonna lie. There's been there's been 4 people I've interviewed that have passed away, and that shit's fucked up. I'm not gonna lie. Like, having a relationship with people, knowing that there's been 5 people I've interviewed that's passed away, knowing that you could just touch them and they're gone. Like, that shit, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's hard to get back in there and do an interview, you know? Like, but yeah, I guess I'll take the time now. You know, I already said rest in peace, Slow. Rest in peace, Lil TYS. Rest in peace, Huey Haha. Was a shocker. Like he just reached 1 million subs on YouTube and he passed away. Like, that shit's crazy. But yeah, like, it's just tough, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of rest in peace, Draco. We never did an interview, but I did a lot of content with Draco. It's tough, like, and I think it's kind of like a lot of the people that I interviewed are, not everyone, but some of them are gangster rappers, you know. So like, they talking about street shit all the time, and it's like, damn, when something happens, it's like, fuck, like, that's what the reality. That's what it's like. Damn, this is real. Like, what people are saying in their raps, what people are talking about, and what they go through in their daily life, you're like, bro, like, it's a tough field to be in, especially when people are dying, you know?
Yeah, facts. And that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, this is priceless. Like, you know, even me being able right here, like, who knows if I'm going to live tomorrow? Like, this is probably the last video, you know, I would have recorded, whatever. But
No, you never
I
know.
think it's just like, you know, it's part of the journey, and it's like, why wouldn't you want to document all this? You know what I'm saying?
You got to. I think it's big to get it out there and to have a platform for people to express themselves and tell their story. And I think that's something that is priceless, because at the end of the day, the basis of being an interviewer is getting people's story out there. Yep. You have to love getting people's story out there more than anything, more than the money, more than the fame, because at the end of the day, how good you can get somebody's story out there will always determine how big you'll become. Like, so like, that's the true basis of my platform and what I learned from C5.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I love sharing people's story, and I think that's why I'm not afraid of asking the controversial questions either, because at the end of the day, I know this is your story. Like, I'm aware of your story. I'm well aware of majority of things that are going on in the music world, whether I comment on it or not. But other times you'll never see me comment on it or address it. Like I said, I'll never really post some bad shit about somebody on my gram. I'm just not like, if you think about like people that post like say whatever, like somebody posts like, people post like people's Instagrams, whatever, they're talking about lives, whatever. Mm-hmm. If I would have been posting that from the beginning of when I started, I might have 100,000 followers right now. Mm-hmm. But like, I just never really cared about that. Like, I like sharing people's stories. There's things that I want to do with the Innovators brand, but like, I'm not really trying to be like posting like what's going on in the music world every day, or like really people like bad shit. So like, somebody gets robbed or changed. Yeah. Like, you're not gonna see me posting on that on the internet. But if I do interview the person, I'll ask them about it, because I also do believe that like sometimes Instagram only shows you one side of the story, you know, or like it only shows you 30 seconds of somebody talking. It doesn't show you what they said before, what they said after. Yeah. Even though that clip is like crazy, but you're like, damn, like
that one word could have said right before that.
Yeah, you know, like, you never know. And I feel like Instagram kind of not social media kind of confuses us in the sense where like we're so big on what was said in that 30-second clip, but we're not like, what did he say after that? Like, what was said before? Like, I think those are the things that people should always look at when it comes to like judging what someone said, because like even there's been clips I posted where people like, damn, they'll be mad at the person, but it's like, nah, it wasn't even. We didn't even. The intention behind it wasn't even that. Like, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, shit could definitely get mixed around and just tailored to be, you know, a certain way, especially with the media. Like you said, we all know what people gravitate to, because it just brings that excitement for whatever reason, you know.
Yeah, I still don't be getting that all the time. Like, I understand, like, with certain things, like, yeah, people want to know about it, but like sometimes I'll be like, damn, why does that bring y'all as much joy as it does?
No, yeah, exactly. Nah, for sure. But yeah, man, I appreciate you for coming. I had a whole list. You know, I usually don't try to like break off a certain conversation or like if it's steering a certain way.
Yeah.
But I definitely, you know, got a lot of like my personal questions I want to ask you, man. Because like I said, I really believe that this is good for the culture for one.
Nah, for
like,
sure.
We need to know the inside. For two, it helps the artist because at the end of this is marketing, this is branding.
Yeah, nah, I appreciate you for sure for bringing me on. I've been seeing your shit. Keep pushing it. Keep doing it.
Bro, I appreciate that.
I like the name Neighborhood Heroes. Like that's just tight. And I feel like with like similar to my shit, it doesn't take anybody out. And a lot of people that are doing the thing are neighborhood heroes.
Facts. No, yeah. Me? And I feel like where we're from, you know, it's hard to have a neighborhood hero. Like most of the people we look up to, and it's not by choice usually, aren't the greatest example, you know, but that's just how it is. You get what I'm saying? So it's like if I'm able to show, you know, the innovators, the C5s, the Russells, the football players, the whatever, people who been through everything you've been through but made it out, like, and then showing you a blueprint, giving you motivation behind that, then why not?
It definitely gives people hope and shows people that, you know, it can be done. I think that's at the end of the day, that's both of our mindsets in it, to show people that you can end up in this seat too if you take these right steps to make some shit happen, you know?
Facts. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like these artists, I'm sure through their stories are giving out game, you know, whether they're doing it consciously or not. And then you're capturing that, putting that out, and the right person will get it.
And the beauty of it is that like a lot of these people's fans are like people that are younger, the kids that might not know no better. The things that these people can say can probably change their lives. And I feel like that's huge too. And I feel like to the kids, like don't always be caught up in like what you see on social media. Like build your own path, build your own lane, and figure out what you like. And something that Pablo he talked about, he said he always didn't know himself. You really got to put time into knowing yourself and who you are and what you like and who do you want to be. You know, like when I was in college, I didn't that was the thing. I didn't know really what I wanted to do, and I had to figure that out. And I think one of the things about being in college was that people always, especially when you about to graduate, people are always like, what's your next move? What you about to do? It's like, fuck, I don't even know. I'm still kind of figuring that out. So like that, not even interning, but just opportunities to do different shit and try different fields and to see what you like. I think that's
dip your toes in everything.
super important. Like you gotta be able to fill the space out to know if you really like it. Because you can do something and you can do it for a week and be like, yeah, it's not for me.
Facts. Yeah, and I think you also you grow into loving shit. Like, you know, you don't just walk into something and be like, oh man, this is what I want to do every day for the rest of my life. I think you grow into it. I think you learn about it. But I think as long as you're able to like understand that this shit is a journey, you're gonna be solid.
Yeah, you're completely right. When it came, like I told myself when I started Innovators, like this is something I want to dedicate 10 years to building. If I don't get at this time I was just trying to get 10,000 subscribers. Mm-hmm. I told myself I'll give myself 5 years to do that. Literally, I was like, I'll give myself 5 years to do that. I was like, if I can't do it in 5 years, then I don't know.
And when did you do it?
I did it in like a year and a half.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's like damn. But at the same time, I'm still like now. I tell myself I have a 10-year vision on it, and I've been doing it for like 3 on YouTube. But like now, my vision is on a 10-year vision, and it's just like because I think the thing about interviewing that I really like a lot is that it's no time frame on when you have to stop being an interviewer.
Yeah.
Like you can do that shit till you're 70. Like as long as you're like
Facts.
sharp and you're aware of what's going on in the culture, like no one's turning down no interview with Sway. No one's turning down no interview on Drink Champs or Vlad. Like I mean, people probably are turning down some Vlad interviews, but people will always go on Vlad TV.
Yeah.
People will always go on Vlad. People will always go on No Jumper. Like whether it's just a platform. Like I want innovators to be big. Like even after I'm long and gone, I still want innovators to be a thing. I would still want somebody on my channel interviewing people. Like that's what I would still want. I don't know who, but I would always want that. I feel like that's it's not on no selfish shit. Like it's only gonna be me ever doing it. Like nah, I want to have other people doing interviews on here sooner or later. Like at the end of the day, I want this to be a staple for years to come. Yeah, it will be for sure.
Man, y'all heard it here, man. No, that's real. Cause that's the thing. Like you building this generationally. Yeah, so I believe in you, bro. I really do. I believe in the brand.
I believe in you too. I appreciate you for bringing me on and shit.
It's love, bro. Like I said, energy is real currency. So we gonna keep with that motto. We gonna keep growing, networking, bro, and just being